Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. To my right is the American, Lucas. Lucas, how are you doing, brother?
I'm good. All is good. It's beautiful outside right now. Enjoyed the weather a little bit today, and yeah, I can't ask for more. And
Mm,
Croatia won, beat
I
France
know,
today.
I did see, mate.
Love it.
I did see. Why do you think I got you on here tonight?
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Luka
uh,
Modric is going to play for another 10 years.
I know, mate. I know. Let's talk about West Ham, Lucas, as we are here and we are West Ham fans.
Yeah.
West Ham look like they're going to make a signing by the end of the week in a guard. What is your taking on him?
Um. So I watched them for the first time a day after they played the U.S. because I was out doing something
Mm,
and I was able to watch a rerun. And I thought I didn't, me personally, I didn't see enough, but you can kind of tell, like, just foundationally, like, he's going to fit well with this team. And obviously, I've seen some highlights
yeah.
and some clips and stuff. And I think we've all seen the one clip of him tracking back after a corner kick. And Jesus Lord, guy's got some speed on him.
Mm.
And that's kind of weird to see a center half with his size. He's about 6'3", so he's like my height. He's so fat. Not only is he incredibly fast, but he can pass the ball really well. I don't know much about his aerial threat. I mean, he's 6'3", so you expect him to be decent in the air, but it's gonna be weird seeing a West Ham defense where, like, everyone's kind of on the same page or the same level. You know what I mean? Because when you have Zuma in, you know what you expect
Yeah.
from Zuma, and then you have like Craig Dawson, who's zero nonsense and has arguably developed his game in some facets, especially his passing. But it's going to be nice to see, hopefully, Aguerd and Zuma, just two well-rounded defenders playing from the back that really have no weakness. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see. I hope we get it done this week. I hope we wrap up Areola, and we'll talk about other people as well. But I I'd be incredibly disappointed if we didn't get them wrapped up by Saturday.
So would I, mate. So would I. I expected it to be done by Wednesday, mate, not Saturday. I'm expecting it Wednesday, signed, sealed, and delivered. Like, um,
When I wake
with a,
up,
with a guard, I think it's a great signing, West Ham, for the type of player he is and what I've watched of him. I done a watch along with Peach, yeah, on his channel,
mm,
and literally watched a guard for the whole of that match, and he was phenomenal, mate. Like, really, really good player. And I know the US of A are a decent side, but he wasn't really up against anyone who was lightning quick other than Pulisic. But he was decent, like he was good. Everything he done very, very well.
I'll tell you
Um,
one thing though: Darwin Nunez did not pass the USA test. He didn't
no,
pass the test. Didn't score
what
on
happened?
us.
No, he didn't score. Nah, well, he's going to Liverpool. He's going to score bundles of goals now. When you look at a guard, is it important now if he is coming in that we do sign a left back to go with him?
I I would think so. I mean, I don't really have a preference of what, like, order everything gets done, but I wouldn't mind. And one thing I do like about Aguero too is that normally when you have a pacey center half like that, he should be able to play three in the back too. So
Mm,
hopefully, if Cresswell is our starting left backs by some ungodly reason next season, or he's our backup, we'll never have to see him in a three back again. I know you don't mind him, but
yeah,
I just cannot stand Aaron Cresswell in the three in the back. But Aguerd should be able to play that third center half on the left hand side. But to answer your question, I would love to see a left back sign next because, in my opinion, as much as I really do want a really good striker,
mm,
it doesn't look like we're gonna get that type of striker we want. I think we're gonna be getting someone that's just kind of maybe I wouldn't say is as good as Antonio, maybe a step down, but at least it's competition. But I
well,
always said I think a really good left back is
yeah,
in my opinion, my main priority.
Yeah, but we're going to get onto that in a little while about why we're not going after a striker and why it's taking so long. I just want to get to Jay Woods' comment here, yeah? Aaron Hickey. Now, I've mentioned on this channel, we've both mentioned him. He's in Bologna. He's cheap. He's British. He's a decent player. Well, I just don't get why West Ham are hesitating on a left back. Or is it that they're looking at it and thinking they've got to offer Mezuaku?
I have no clue, really, because if I had to pick a left back for us to sign, he's the guy. I mean, in terms of value, I don't think there's a better value or more of a fair evaluation of a player that's been like reliably linked to us than Aaron Hickey. I mean, you have a 19-year-old left back who's played a good amount of first-team football in Scotland for Hearts, and then goes to Bologna, plays a ton in Serie A, not Farmers League. And
it takes a lot of ball, though, Lucas, doesn't it, to go to Italy at a young age?
And last time I checked, he has the most first-team appearances in the top 5 leagues of players under 21.
Mm.
And so, I mean, really, he's can't really say he's a new kid on the block anymore. He's kind of vetted in almost. I mean, he has well over 100 appearances.
I agree, mate. I just think to myself, like,
I think he has 150 first-team appearances between Hearts and Bologna.
And how old is he? Is he 19?
19. Yeah.
So he must have.
I think he turned 20 just recently, like as of last week. But still,
he's turned 20. He must have started playing at 17 or even 16.
Exactly. I'll tell you right now.
I just as you're checking that out, I just want to answer this comment. Football memes of the month says we're going to go and get wingers, ain't we? If I'm honest, mate, I believe we are. I believe it's wingers of the day for West Ham. I think Moyes will go out, sign a couple of wingers, and use Jared Bowen as the backup striker. That's the fear I have.
So not over 100, but he's made 71 first-team appearances between Hearts and Bologna from 2019 till now. He's made 47 appearances for Bologna at 19 years old.
Wow.
I mean,
he's a decent player, mate.
And he already has 4 caps for Scotland.
But
which
yet
is
again,
not a bad shout.
It goes back to the pound note. And it all goes back to the Queen's English of why we don't spend no money.
I know Jay Wood said 15 to 17 million pounds. I've seen more like closer to 25, but still, I mean, 25 million Great British pound for a just now turned 20-year-old that's made 71 appearances.
Yeah.
And he's made 47 for a Serie A side at left back. And I mean, I don't see how, I don't know. It just makes too much sense. So maybe that's why I'm confident West Ham won't sign him, because it makes too much sense.
It does, mate. When I look at other players, though, and I'll get to the chat shortly, what's irritating me with West Ham at present, and I've done a show on it earlier, I've done a show over the weekend, is we keep going back to the old ex all the time, Jesse Lingard. Now, I'm going to get onto him, and I want to ask your opinion on it. On Saturday, I done a show, and I was talking about Saeed Benrahma, why I believe he shouldn't be sold. And people were saying to me, well, he should be sold because he ain't going to get any better, and we're going to get a decent amount of money for him. People wanted Jesse Lingard, and it emerged that night, Lucas, that Jesse Lingard has rejected us for the 3rd time now, I think it is. Mm-hmm. Right? What's your thoughts on this with Jesse Lingard? It has got to stop now with the Jesse Lingard talk, isn't it?
Yeah. For me personally, it's really frustrating because, I mean, I'm not the only one, but I really did want to see him back for loads of reasons. Like, he just was like, I wouldn't even say that it was a breath of fresh air, but
yeah,
like it was just like, it was a nice compliment and like shining light on the dressing room, and got along with everyone, matched the vibes of the dressing room. Everyone was happy, joking around, but very professional. And he's a good player. And if he did come back, I don't think anyone was expecting him to replicate what he did on his loan spell, because, I mean, he was literally doing better than Messi and Ronaldo in that period. So, but I did expect him, if he was to come back, he would, I wouldn't say hit the ground running, but he was definitely going to bring that same type of
star quality.
Yeah, that he did before. Obviously, not every time he shoots, the ball isn't going to go in the net, but I had belief that he would still put us in great positions to score.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree now after hearing all the reports. It's sad for me. It's discouraging, but I mean, we've got to officially move on now because we're going to look like a crazy ex-girlfriend.
That's how it looks.
Someone back.
It is exactly how it looks, mate. Yeah. Every time I see his name on like different platforms, different social media outlets, yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, we just can't let this geezer go.
And then another, the other thing that's like incredibly frustrating is that like I want to understand why he doesn't want to come back. In the grand scheme of things, we don't have to, but like as a supporter and watching him do what he did for us, like I just really want to know why he doesn't want to come back. And I have some opinions or thoughts of why he might not, but I just want to know from him.
And what are your thoughts on that? I'll see if I agree with you.
I truly don't think he's money motivated because he's made a lot of money.
I don't know, Lucas. But go on. I'll
think,
hear you out.
I think he doesn't know what he wants personally, and I don't know. I really want some closure, but I know I'm not going to get it. It's going to keep me up at night.
I think it is to do with money, mate, to a point, because I look
if he goes to Newcastle, that's like, then that will like tell me obviously like this guy is money motivated. But like if he went to, like, let's say
he could end up with Spurs, you know. That's not.
That'd be like a kick. That'd be a kick in the teeth. But still, like if he went to like Serie A or something, which I don't think he will, because if he wanted to, he would have been gone by now, in my opinion.
If he goes abroad, then I can understand it. But the thing is, right, which is where I do believe it's to do with money, is that this is his last big contract at West for his footballing career. So like he's going to turn 30 in December, and after
he's quite
that,
literally in his prime.
Yeah, he's going to go down after this last contract. Yeah, is he looking at it and thinking, well, Declan Rice ain't going to be here next year? Is that one of the main factors that he's thinking? You know what, Declan
be a foreshadow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And maybe he just doesn't fancy it. Do you know what I'm saying? I said it on the show I done the other day, and I turned around and said, listen, we used Jesse Lingard as much as Jesse Lingard used us. Like, we brought him in at a time where he was in the wilderness at Old Trafford. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's just hard. It's hard for clubs like us because we do get attached very easily to players that not only do they obviously do well for us, but like they really look like they care about us. They care about the club. Whenever they score, it really looks like it means something. Because obviously, you know, when you got players that play for like other clubs, you can really look at a player and just be like, yeah, he can't even be bothered. Like, yeah, he scored, but he doesn't look that fucking excited, or it means a lot. So like when a player like that turns up with his high of a profile, and not like career wise, but just like as a personality, and he did what he did. Like it's hard to not like heartthrob over him. You know what I mean?
But is it a sort of situation that I sort of mentioned the other day? And I turned around and said, if he doesn't perform like that, the fan base are on him, like straight away. Like he's a new scapegoat sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Depends, because you know people. Some people are stat oriented. Some people can't really see past someone's play if the stats aren't there. Like for me personally, like I said, I didn't expect Lingard, if he did come back, I wasn't going to expect him to have, what was it, 12 goal contributions, 13, and
I think he scored over 10 goals, didn't he? If I remember rightly, he scored more than Antonio, I think he was, or level with Antonio.
Like I wasn't expecting that if he came back, but like you can just tell if he's playing well on the pitch or not. But I think it's time to obviously move on, and I think I will get full closure if I see him go to like Newcastle. Then I'll know, like, okay,
I think if he ends up, If he ends up at Spurs, I won't be pleased, mate, at all. But we will see about him. This comment from Jay Woods, right? I'm going to ask you first, Lucas. Would you be happy with Broja and Sarr at West Ham? Or is it sort of doesn't really set your heart pacing?
I'd be happy with Sarr for sure. Because again, a natural left winger is very another huge priority in my opinion. That rivals striker, but Bro's is a weird one for me because for some odd reason there seems to be a lot of people on Twitter, and I'm not calling them like dumb or anything. I disagree. They keep saying that that Broja reminds them a lot of Arnautovic, and I just don't see that at all. But Broja to me, again, it all depends on the price tag. Like I've seen reports from 25 million to 50 million that Chelsea wanted him, and for me, it really all depends on the price tag. But if you're asking me as a player, would I take him? I probably would. Just because he is such a Moyes player. Like, is he the most talented striker? Is he the most clinical? No. But
see, I can't understand it though, right? Just to cut in here, that we will try and go for Broja when we had the opportunity last season to sign Abraham.
Exactly. Yeah. It again, with West Ham, when it makes too much sense, it just is not going to happen. But I like the prospect of Broja. Yeah. I just don't think. I think he's talented, but he's not my type of striker. But if Moyes thinks he's his type of striker, then I'm all for it. He doesn't have what I like. But at the end of the day, if this guy presses 80% of the time he's on the pitch, gets a head on the ball, can finish a few goals, I mean, I won't be mad. I think he has the potential to be a 10-goal a season striker, and if he can add 7-8 goals on top of Antonio's, hopefully he does a little better with 11 or 12. I mean, that would be really good for us. But I would take him in the grand scheme of things. I would take him.
I would get him on a loan with a view to a permanent. That's what I would do. I'd say, right, get him on loan, give him a season at West Ham, see how he adapts, and I wouldn't go out and risk 25-30 million pound for him. I really wouldn't, because I just think to myself, if you're going to do that, just go and sign Ivan Toney. Exactly. You know what Ivan Toney is.
And still, I think let's say we meet in the middle of his evaluation at 30-35 million pound. I said I've seen lowest is 25, highest is 50. Yeah. We'll be in the middle at 35. I think personally you can find a striker better than him for that money.
Yeah,
but if Moyes wants him, I don't care, because I like his foundation. He works hard, presses, runs his heart out, and he's a decent finisher, and he's big with pace. So
he'll stop scoring against us. That'd be a good start. I know. Do you know what I mean? Adam's put a comment here. Yeah. We all wanted him back, talking about just Lingard, but he made his choice. We really need to move on. We need to be smart with this transfer window. It's so important we get this right. It is. I totally agree with that comment. How important is this transfer window, Lucas? Honestly,
it's as important as every other one we've said is the most important for the past 3-4 seasons. And I do agree. I think I finally think this is the one that I think David Moyes is finally going to put his foot down. Okay, fuck off. I'm done chasing after you. Don't come back to me at the end of the window when you don't have a club. And again, I do have that thought in the back of my head, because if he really is demanding 150 to 180 grand a week, no one is going to fucking pay. Not even a Serie A club will pay that. I'm sorry.
Nah.
They will not pay that. So I want to move on, but I have a feeling in the back of my head we're going to make it to about 3 weeks until the end of the window, and we're going to start seeing just shit pop up again that, he might have had a change of heart. And we all know it's going to be because he hasn't found a club. He's not getting the money that he wanted. And that is what's going to rub us the wrong way.
Oh, 100%. That would wind me up completely, that would, mate. Happy Hammer 82 says, do you think Moyes and GSB are selling the West Ham project enough to secure these sort of players? It don't look that way to me. I agree.
Yeah. I don't see it either because, again, I mean, let's be honest. The whole West Ham project is held together by one player.
Yeah. Or two. And I'd say two this year.
Yeah. I'd say two now.
Yeah. But one at the start.
And let's just say if one left, if one certain player left, it would vastly diminish the value of this project.
Yeah.
But if the other left, it would still hold on.
I think what it is, and I do agree with that comment from Happy Hammer, 100%. I don't believe they are selling any sort of ambition to West Ham. No. Right, let's be honest. As a fan base, right, what is our marquee signing? Like, let's be honest. Last season, we signed Zuma, great signing. Yeah, but when you get names on backs of shirts, you don't get centre halves. You get centre forwards, and West Ham just don't seem like they can find a centre forward on this planet, or they can't find a centre forward on this planet, which is like about 5 million or 10 million pounds.
I think you're on the same boat as me that in my heart of hearts, I do think Moyes is still scared to fuck it up again. Because I do agree.
He's got to take the risk. Lucas,
yeah, no, I mean, hey, you know me, I know you. We are gamblers. I'll roll the dice every time personally, but it's a weird mix that I think Moyes doesn't want to fuck up again, which I get, and you can. At the end of the day, you can get around not having a tip-top striker if you surround him with a bunch of quality playmakers who can pass, get the ball in position, and set it up. Because we've seen all before, like Nketiah. I don't think Nketiah is the most talented striker in the Premier League. I really don't think he's that great, but he's surrounded by a bunch of quality players that get the ball in position, and all he has to do is tap the ball in, get in position. So I think we can get around not having a tip-top striker, but at the end of the day, that it could be the one thing that just makes us take the next step.
Yeah, but let's be honest though, Lucas. Have you got any confidence in David Moyes finding a centre forward of class? Because I haven't really. I really haven't. I think he's had, for me personally, and then I'll get your answer. I look at him and I think you've had 2 years now, or 18 months as good as, to find a centre forward at West Ham United Football Club. And let's be honest, when Lingard come in, he got very, very lucky how Lingard played. Like, to turn him to prime Messi was like, none of us would have even contemplated that.
It was so awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unreal, wasn't it? Let's be honest, right? And now, in a year, we've had 4 signings, 2 that's been good, 2 that's been absolutely shite, and a January window which was nothing. Surely they must have a list of players that they should be going after at West Ham, and for some reason, they're just sitting on their hands.
Well, it's been 1,038 days since we signed
1,038 days. How embarrassing is that, mate? That's embarrassing.
I mean, and again, there's so many different I hate being the if, buts, and what's guy, but I don't know. I have faith in Moyes, but I do think he's scared. But at the same time, I do think the board, they're just.
Who is it more, Lucas? Who is it more? Is it Moyes being stubborn with his selections, or is it the fucking board being like that, like grabbing every cent they can, right? Because I believe, right, and I'll say this quickly before I get your answer, a guard will sign, Diop will go, and it will balance the books. 100%. So there's no spend. It's just like one in, one out situation. So what is it then, Lucas? Moyes, or is it the board?
I still think it's the board because at the end of the day, Moyes is not the one signing the checks, signing whatever. All he can really do is voice his opinion, and at the end of the day, it's up to David Sullivan if he shells out the money or not. Which, I mean, both options, both answers, I mean, make cases for themselves. But for me, it will always be the board. Because even with like the whole Rob Newman thing, like I do not sit here once and think like Rob Newman is bad at his job. I personally think I personally think he didn't adjust the first year, and I think he's adjusted now. But to me, still, I think it's a case of the board not giving any money.
Is Rob Newman finding possible targets that the board cannot financially back?
I do think that is still probably an issue. Not as I think it was more prevalent when he first started, because there's no way you can just go from Man City to West Ham and just like hit the ground running with your transfer ideas. It's impossible to jump from, okay, this guy seems really good. He's only 50, 60 million pounds. Let's go get him. And then you go to West Ham. You can't bring that same ideology, because you're going from Man City, who a 50, 60 million pound player, that's fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
Like that's a squad player to them. And then you got to go to West Ham.
That's a reserve, mate. That's a reserve room.
And when you go to West Ham, a 50 million pound player, that is literally our next record signing. So like I will say I think he has adapted. At first I don't think he did, but I still think the board are not investing properly. And I really think if people don't think that way, I want to know why, because it's hard to believe it's not the board, because if Moyes isn't spending and then he goes to the next transfer window and the budget hasn't increased, like I just don't understand. If he doesn't spend in one window and we just finished 7th, which obviously makes us more money, that should in theory increase the transfer budget. But every time we hear a number come out from whatever source, it's like it just doesn't make sense.
There is no number, Lucas. That's the problem. I just want to get through a couple of these comments, Lucas. What do you think about I don't want to pronounce his name, but do you know who he is, Lucas? From
Nahitan Nandez. I have never heard of this guy.
Troj, put it in the comment section below with a link.
Sounds South American. If I had, he
sounds Uruguayan, which is good enough for me. Mark's Newcastle fan. He says, "Hope you're well. Gutted that Lingard looks like he's coming to us." And so Newcastle look like they're in there for him. Where are we? Let's have a look. Be happy with Broja adding 8 or 9 goals to Antonio. Benny added more than that, and nobody's happy. And they're ready to pay up 35 million. Yeah, let's talk about Ben Rama, Lucas. We're on the subject. What is your thoughts on him being touted for 30 million to be sold?
I think if we were to sell him, I think 30 million pounds would be a really good number, just because we're so known for buying a player and then literally just slashing the price 50%. Just to get rid of him. But I want to keep Ben Rama personally, because there's no benefit in selling any of our players right now, because everyone's talking about, oh, all we need is 3-4 signings. Like, no, we're losing 4 or 5. You got to replace them, and then we still got to add more depth. So in my opinion, 30 million for Ben Rama, if someone came in and gave us 30 million, that'd be a tough situation for me, because I just don't. First off, like I said, with our history of buying and selling players, it'd be hard for me to believe that someone will pay 30 million pound for Ben Rama.
I think 30 million is a good fee for Ben Rama. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I like Ben Rama, but 30 million pounds a good price for him if someone comes in and is prepared to pay that.
If 30 million came in, I won't say I would sell him. I wouldn't be mad if we did.
But there's no guarantees that money's going to go straight back into the team.
Exactly. And let's be honest, anytime anyone's sold or we make money in general, we don't know where the hell that's going. I've said this for as long as I can remember, and you feel the same way. As long as this board is here, I am nervous every single day of the day we sell Rice, because I know for a fact that money we get for him will not go back into the club. They're going to take that money with them as soon as they sell, and it's going to be like we're starting all over again. So
100%.
30 million, I mean, like I said, I would personally keep him, but a 30 million pound price tag is right on the fence for me. Like, that's some good money
Yeah,
for
but
Ben Rama.
are we that desperate, Lucas, for £30 million? Like, because the way we
I don't
are,
think so. I'd rather keep him for the depth.
yeah, like the way I look at it is from 30 million. If it was £50 million, right? Say for example, Jesse Lingard wasn't a twat, and he wasn't saying he didn't want to come to us, and Jesse Lingard said, right, I'm going to sign for you. You're going to sell Ben Rama for say £40 million. You go and get rid of Ben Rama. You go and get King Lewis Potter. You bring in Jesse Lingard. And you can get another player out of that, maybe a left back from Holland or something. Then I'd look at that and go, yeah, that's good business. Like, take care, Ben Rama. You've done great, but this is West Ham, and we've got to progress. Yeah, I don't see nothing of the sort. To me, when I hear these reports about Ben Rama, it's what I feel is happening. Lucas, is they're looking at the squad. They're going, Jared Bowen and Declan Rice ain't leaving, yeah, because they're prize assets. Who else can we sell? We can't sell Kirk Zuma because he's just arrived. Our back four, Dawson's going to be peanuts. Cresswell's peanuts. Ben Johnson, maybe you could get a few quid for him if you wanted to sell him, but not that much probably. You go into midfield, Fornals, yeah, maybe you could flog him if you really wanted to. Lanzini's not going to attract the sort of money. So you've got two players in there, in Souček and Ben Rama, that's going to generate your funds. Now, the argument that I have is, why are we generating funds when we should have funds? That's the question.
Because we have owners and a board that are, I don't care how many clubs they have ever owned or plan on owning, they are not football people. That's just, and they're bad businessmen. We all know their background. We all know how they've come up through the ranks and where their wealth comes from, how they make their money. And let's be honest, I don't trust people that make fucking dildos to run a football club. That's just the bottom line. Like,
yeah, but the problem is you got people who say, well, you can't be too negative. Right? Look at the last 2 years. At least we're not fighting relegation. And do you know what? That absolutely irates me. Absolutely angers me big time, because when they say that to me, they say, "Oh, you should appreciate where we are. At least we're not fighting relegation."
I don't want to be fucking. And this is no insult.
Yeah.
To Brighton at all, but Brighton is like they seem, besides this season, of course, they just always seem to stand still. They're always just the same old club. They finish in the same old place. Like, if you're happy with complacency,
steady team, ain't they? Really, Brighton.
But like with West Ham, it's like ever since we brought in Payet, we've always seemed, and if you take out obviously the two near relegation seasons, we've always been right on the cusp of something great. And all we ever needed was investment. And we still, to this day, have yet to, besides Pellegrini, of course, who really didn't spend that well. Like, Moyes is the guy. Moyes has proven time and time again that he is the man for this job. He deserves at least one window where the board say, hey, here's 120 million pound, just like we did with Pellegrini. This is your one shot. If you fuck it up, we can't do this again.
Are they shit scared to give him any money though, because of Vlasic? I know, like, you're going to sit on the fence and say you're going to back Vlasic. I understand that because he's your Balkan brother, right? I get it, yeah. But is he? Are they looking at him and thinking, look at the 4 signings that he's made? He signed Ariona, fair enough. Zuma was. People say, oh, Zuma was a great signing, but if you really look into it with Zuma, it was right place, right time. Everything fell in, like all the stars aligned, and it was perfect. He wanted to stay in London. Chelsea didn't want him. He weren't going to go to Arsenal. Arsenal just signed someone else, Ben White, I think it was. So it was perfect for us. Do you know what I'm saying? And then when you look at Krau, waste of fucking time he was. And you look at Vlasic, who's done really nothing. I know you're on the fence of saying he hasn't. You got to give him time and everything like that.
He hasn't done anything though. That's correct.
It's an interesting debate. I agree with what the gentleman says here. Yeah, both Moyes and the board are to blame on this. I do blame Moyes a little bit because I think I look at Moyes after the January window, and that video that he put out for me was like a yes man all over. Yes, it was like he's reading the fucking script. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, he doesn't want to have a Stuart Pearce pulled on him where they didn't bring Stuart Pearce back the second time because he was criticizing the board, rightfully so. And we all know at the end of the day, no matter how much you don't like your employer, like sometimes you have to play their game as much as you hate to have to do it. Because I mean, let's be honest, we all know Moyes. We all know the type of bloke he is. We all know there's been so many times where during a conference or or press, there's some things that he probably wish he could say, but obviously like it's just not worth it for the club, the morale, just the energy and vibes around the club. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's Moyes and the board. You can't really, as much as I hate the board, you can't really put all the blame on him because, like I said, Moyes I think is scared to mess up on a striker again, which you can't be scared and not take blame. Like,
so, I agree.
I do think though we can still get like, as much as we all want a quality striker, I still think we can kind of get around that by surrounding Antonio or someone who's maybe a step down from him with quality players around them.
Yeah, but this is I understand what you're saying, bruv. I really do. But I look at it like that: step down. I want to step up. Like when we was just saying this a minute ago about people saying about, oh, at least you're not fighting relegation. What I was going to say is the reason why that angers me is because if they would have said that at Upton Park, I could accept it because that's where we was.
Exactly.
We're in the London Stadium now. It's a different ball game to me.
They took it upon themselves.
Yeah, and you're in a 65,000 seater stadium with the best fans on the fucking planet, going home and away and across Europe. How about giving us something to cheer? Like give us something to be like, instead of just like, it's like a boot sale at West Ham. Like, do you know what I mean? I go to West Ham, they go, right, see what we can get for like dirt cheap. And it's just not on. Do you know what I mean? Quick question. Would you take Dennis at Watford? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Troll says, how can we sell anyone without signing it first? Very worrying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I agree on that. Listen, people either like Ben Rama or don't. When I say about Ben Rama, all right, listen, I don't sit on this channel and say about Ben Rama when he's been shit. Like, if he's been crap, you've been here, Lucas. I've called him out. Yeah. I've said he's been absolutely dire. But I just feel like £30 million for a player. Why are we getting rid of him? Like, shouldn't we have a squad, a big squad, rather than like we've got no midfielders. Like, well, midfielders are gone.
The only logical sense to selling Ben Rama is if we have a replacement or we sell Vlasic. Like if we brought in Lingard, Vlasic, or Ben Rama would have had to go.
Yeah, and I can understand that. And do you know what? If Ben Rama was to get sold and they brought in Keane Lewis Potter, I'll be over the moon. Because I go, you know what? Fair enough. All right, Ben Rama's gone. Thank you for your service, bruv. Keane Lewis Potter is in the house. Yeah, Keane Lewis Potter for me is the real deal. Like, you know how much I've raved about him, Lucas. Me and you, when you come over to the UK, me and you spoke about him. You've done this channel with me for a long time, and I've said to you, KLP is the man. He's wasted at Hull, and he will be in the Premier League, I think, with someone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you've seen him, so you can understand what I'm saying. But when I look at other players, like, I just don't understand why West Ham are holding back. I don't get it.
Yeah, we're such a bargain club, and I don't understand why. Like, we're a big club, in my opinion, and we shouldn't, window after window, we shouldn't always be sitting back waiting for something to fall in our lap. Like, I want to go out and take what's ours. Not like literally, but like players like Ismail Assar, Broja, Emmanuel Dennis, like and from reports, I like the progression of the news on Emmanuel Dennis because it seems that we are taking the initiative going out and getting them. Of course, like, we're doing that because Watford got relegated, but I would like to see us, like Broja, for example, I want us to go after and take him Like lay our balls on the table. Here's 30 million pound. Good start. Let's haggle, or not even haggle. Here's 30 million. We won't go above 35. Take it or leave it.
What do you make of I see a comment there about Zinchenko. What's your thoughts on him at West Ham?
That's a tricky one because while I do like him, I think he's a very good player. I keep seeing that he doesn't want to play left back, which in my opinion is a bit worrying because he is a very good left back. And obviously he plays in the midfield, kind of attacking midfield for Ukraine. And again, very good. He is so good on and off the ball. Like if you just watch him, kind of like with Rice, if you just watch him solely on and off the ball, he is so good, so smart, so intelligent. He doesn't even have to use his pace or athleticism. He just uses his wit. Kind of like with Modric. Like he'll just be standing in the middle of the pitch. He's about to receive the ball. He's got two people closing down on him, and he just like does a step over or gets into space to avoid him like it's nothing. I do rate him. I would take him, but I'd be a bit worried with his price tag if he didn't want to play left back. That's my only concern.
They want him to go midfield. He wants to play midfield now, mate.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind, but
is he a better midfielder than Souček for you?
Probably yes. Because when you're looking at a midfielder, you have to be very technical, at least in the Premier League. Like, foundationally, you have to be very good technically. Passing, your touches, quick thinking. That's why Souček had in my opinion, such a great first season. Is because like he's just not in that mold, and he just like used that to his advantage. Big, brute, can jump, head in balls, win aerial duels, knock a ball on with his head. Like he used that to his advantage, but this year got found out, and we do need someone else in the midfield who needs to be better than Lanzini. So kind of like with our striker situation. Don't get me wrong, I love Lanzini, but like he doesn't have the pace anymore. Technical ability's still there, but not as quick, not as witty, in my opinion. So someone like Zinchenko would be really good. But again, for me, I would love him to be our next left back, but he doesn't want to play left back. And I don't know if that's I don't ever want to play left back again, or you know what, I want to play in the midfield, but if you need me to fill in at left back for 7-10 matches, let's do it. You know what I mean? I just don't know where his head's at with that. And for that price tag, for him just as a midfielder, I don't know. It's a bit pricey for me, but I do think he's good. He's really good.
Mike says, guys, do you rate James Ward-Prowse? He's solid for set pieces. I'm underwhelmed by him. I think he's a good player, right? But if you take the set pieces away from him, what else does he really do? Really?
I think he's a really good player, but that's just me.
I think, like, if you had a choice between Calvin Phillips, Basuma, JWP, I think he's third on the list, in my opinion.
I would probably agree with you, but
do you know what I mean?
With James Ward-Prowse, that's a weird one because he's almost kind of like an anomaly. Like I think he's an above average central midfielder, but what he's good at, he's world class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's another thing I love about James Ward-Prowse is like what he makes up for where he lacks is his work rate, his engine. He just runs forever. He doesn't stop running. And we're obviously world-class set piece taker, great crosser. And me personally, I think his technical ability is a bit underrated. Like obviously it's not as good as a lot of other midfielders in the Prem, but like he gets by. Like when we saw Mark Noble play against Watford, we all know Mark Noble, he doesn't have the legs anymore. He still has his wit. And I think James Ward-Prowse is witty enough to like carry on. but I don't think he is the better fit out of Calvin Phillips and Basuma. Me personally, I think Calvin Phillips would be a dream signing. That'd be a match made in heaven for us.
and we had the chance to sign the geezer, didn't we? In January.
Yeah.
We let it go.
Apparently.
Again. Do you know what I mean? So, obviously, we've been linked with Ismail Sarr from Watford. And I've done a show in it earlier on. What's your thoughts on Sarr? I like Sarr. I do. I think Sarr's a decent lad, decent player. I think he can get a lot better. I think when you're at Watford, I think you're in a team where they're struggling, and you're just going to look bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
And that's why for me, I'll talk about Sarr real quick, but that's why for me, when the Emmanuel Dennis news came out, I was like incredibly confused because that Watford side was so piss poor. And obviously when Roy Hodgson's playing, like you were going to be playing some of the most negative football in your life. And for the viewers as well, you're going to be seeing some of the most negative football in town. And for for Emmanuel Dennis to get 16 goal contributions and 33 appearances in that Watford side, like that is incredible to me. But Ismail Sarr, for me, he's like one of those, I don't want to say rare, but you don't see a lot of them in football nowadays where you see a very rapid player who's also very good on the ball, like dribbling. Like Dan James, for example, not to throw hate to your Welsh blood, but like Dan James, for me, he's just a pace merchant. He's not a good dribbler. He's not a good passer. He's just fast. Ismail Sarr is not only rapid, but a great dribbler of the ball. I don't think he's the best passer or finisher in the world. He's still got to work on that for me. But pacey, good dribbler, and obviously if you give him space, he could definitely have a good crack on goal or make a pass. And I think that's exactly what we need. Moyes wants someone who's going to work hard and is direct. And Ismail Sarr, I don't know about his work rate, but I know he's pacey, direct, and can dribble.
Yeah, he is.
He would be a slight upgrade on all of our other left back options, or not left back, left wing. Sorry.
Well, that's one thing we haven't got up front.
He would be our left winger. He'd be our only one, but we need one.
So before we come towards the end, Lucas, what is your sort of final thought in regards of like the window at present? I know the window's just opened, but West Ham don't look like they're doing anything other than signing a guard at the minute. What can you see in the weeks ahead?
I would say, while my expectations will always stay low, because I will not allow myself to get hurt, but we all know once the window approaches its end, we're going to get more excited for the prospect of getting more players. But I'm keeping my guard down. But what I do expect, after all the news I've heard and reliable news come out, it'd be really disappointing not to see Ariel and Aguard signed by the end of this week. I know you said Wednesday, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt of Friday. If they're not in by Friday, I would – my expectations for the window would probably go down more because, I mean, it's basically done. Aguard didn't play today, supposedly going to fly out to London tonight or tomorrow, whatever. And Areola basically is right there to be signed. I don't know what's going on with that, but if we can get those two in by the end of this week, I think we're heading in a good direction.
And how many more do you see happening after if them two do come in?
My prediction or what I want?
What you feel?
I think we'll get Aguard. However, I think we'll get him and Ariel in this week. I think Diop will get sold this summer at some point. And obviously you got 3 or 4 others leaving on a free, 5 if you include Mark Noble and Diop. I think we'll make. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with 5. I think we'll replace the people going out, and I think we'll add 2. Basically, if we're going like net, add and subtract, I think we'll come out of this with 2 extra players than what we had. If that makes sense. So I think we'll make 5 signings, 6 if we're absolutely lucky.
So let's get this right then. Fredericks has left. So really, Ashby's going to replace him, isn't he?
And
really?
Honestly, I would not be fucking surprised, excuse my language, if Ben Johnson were to be our new left back. Which, don't get me wrong, I won't say I hate it, but like again, that's just such another GSB cheap option. Like, oh, we know Ben Johnson can play a little bit left back. Let's just put him over there for depth, which would really piss me off. But I do know Ben Johnson can do a decent job. But Frederick's going out, Yarmolenko's out, Noble's out, Kral's out. Who else is out? Or is that it?
Kral, Noble, Yarmolenko, Fredericks. Who else is there? Got a couple of youngsters who look like they're going in. Sonny Perkins, who I'm quite shocked about. He could be leaving.
Yeah, I'm not too pleased about that one. And I only say that, and I get where people come from on Twitter that like obviously like him or the agents like at a line asking for a pay raise or more money, yada yada yada. But and like, does he deserve it? Again, another good argument to be had, but I can only go from what I've seen. I've seen him play, and the kid is something. He has a very bright future, and I would be upset to see him go because I think he does have a bright future here or somewhere else. And if he were to go to Leeds, I think that'd be a good career decision for him because, you know, Leeds has been known to play youth, give him a chance. And I wouldn't be shocked if he, I won't say hit the ground running, but I wouldn't be shocked if he, let's say, made like 10, 11 appearances and scored like 3 or 4 goals for Leeds in the Prem or the Cups. But I think I'm going to go with 5 signings, 6 if we're lucky. I think I'm really hoping that Connor Coventry gets a chance because I really do think he's a good player, and it's just a matter of time. But I wouldn't be surprised if another Josh Cullen situation occurs. But I think because it's come out that the backroom staff likes him, it's just Moyes that is left. I don't want to say unimpressed, but I think he's.
I don't know what Moyes is saying though, mate. I don't know what it is that Moyes like. To me, which is worrying, is like does Moyes just want ready-made players? Like, do you know what I mean? Is he? I don't know what he wants. Like Declan Rice, when he arrived at West Ham, Declan Rice was already a top player. Like not as good as he is now. Don't get me wrong, but he was still a decent player. Jared Bowen, fair enough. This season he's been very good, but let's be honest, the start of the season he was poor. Right, and it was only until he met Danny Dyer he started to kick into gear. And other than that, Antonio's been hot and cold. He was great at the start of the season, and he was like towards the back end of the season he was poor. Or for like 5 months of the 2022, he was poor. So when you sort of weigh it up, Moyes only goes out and really wants to buy ready-made players. And he doesn't want to work with no players.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily hate, but at the same time, you just can't totally neglect the academy. Like we obviously he played all the academy kids plus Mark Noble against Zagreb, which we all know should have ended 0-0. But I mean, to me, that's a very positive sign when you could throw a bunch of kids out there and Noble against a respected European club in competition. Of course,
is that a possible signing for you, Ross Barkley? It would not surprise me in the slightest.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I do not think that is a Moyes player. Ross Barkley is way too lazy, in my opinion. He's got a wand of a right foot. Don't get me wrong, but he's a bit lazy for me. I don't think he has the work rate, and he's a bit slow.
So, before we sort of come towards the end, what sort of player would you say West Ham need there, as in level? Because Ross Barkley, people would say that's our level. That's our type of player.
I think
What
we're
sort of
better
player?
than Ross Barkley.
Yeah.
And that's not an insult to Ross Barkley because I do think he's a decent player. But, like, I think, honestly, players like
Ivan Toney, to me, if you want to go and make a statement signing, you go to Brentford. And if you want to get rid of Ben Rama, go and offer him Ben Rama and give him a few quid and get Ivan Toney at the club.
Like Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins. Like, I think that's our level. Like, they're good players with the potential to be close to great, if that makes sense. Like, I think we deserve to have maybe one or two more England internationals in our squad. I really do. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I think we're blessed and privileged to have Bowen and Rice, who are we're punching above our weight with both of them. But I think we're at the level where we should have maybe one or two more, and I don't think that's like unrealistic to ask for.
Conor Gallagher, is he a sort of person that would?
Yes, he would be phenomenal for our club. Yeah. I think he is just about not punching above our weight. That would be a player I would absolutely be thrilled with.
What's his position? Is it a number 10 or is it a midfielder with him? Because I can never tell with that geezer.
I think he's an 8. I think he's an 8.
Yeah.
Personally, and that again, and we've talked about this before. That's like a big thing with this midfield signing. Like, if we're gonna go out and make a statement and buy someone, is like we've got to think about Rice. We've got to think about Souček. We got to think about the progression and future of where we're going, because I would love Conor Gallagher, but I don't want him to be Rice's partner. I love Calvin Phillips, and I do think Calvin Phillips can play in a 3-man midfield, but is he like the best option to play in a midfield 3? You know what I mean? Like, Conor Gallagher, I'd rather play in a 4-3-3 than Calvin Phillips, if that makes sense.
I must admit, Calvin Phillips' passing range isn't as good as we all think. Like, I watched him the other day. I thought he was dreadful, mate, in midfield for England. Really did.
And that's the same with, like, James Ward-Prowse. Like, I would love James Ward-Prowse in a 4-3-3, but I don't want him to be Declan Rice's partner. So, again, with that midfield signing, if we do get one, that really is going to, in my opinion, give us a sign of what's to come for our formation.
Would Dominic Calvert-Lewin be a type for West Ham striker that you would like?
I think he's a type of striker that Moyes does fancy, but obviously he's kind of off the mark at the minute. But I do think that he can definitely get back on his horse and bag some goals. I think he's our level. I don't think he's too good for us at all.
See, this is where it all goes back to finishing 6th or finishing 7th on that last day, in my opinion. I think if we finish 6th, I think the budget's, well, I don't even know what budget we've got, and I wouldn't even like to know what we've got. But I don't think we've got a lot finishing in the Conference League. So I think they look at it and go, you can get to January.
Ideally, when I said I would like to see us sign 5, if we're lucky, 6 signings, I would like to see 1 or 2 loan signings, and then we splash the cash on like 1 or 2 positions where we get a quality player. Like, I would love to, like, for example, if we could loan in Broja, that'd be brilliant. If we could loan in that one Dutch left back, Wendell or Wenjal, however you pronounce his,
from AZ Alkmaar. Yeah.
If we loan him in, buy him in for his £8.5-10 million buyout, that'd be class. And then if we splashed on James Ward-Prowse, Conor Gallagher, or Calvin Phillips to put in the midfield, and then, like, let's say Emmanuel Dennis or Ismail Assar at left wing / striker, I think that's a good statement for how the transfer window goes.
See, the thing is, the striker issue has to be resolved, though, isn't it? Like, it has to be sorted this summer. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I agree with this comment. I know what Happy Hammer 82 says. Yeah, we would end up with Benteke and Matic.
Well, thank God Matic has signed for Roma today.
Has he? Oh, that's good news. That's one out the door. Do you know
I
what I mean?
don't think him and Sufal would get along in training.
See, a sort of player that I would like West Ham to go for, and you probably think I'm a bit over the top here, but someone like a Rashford, who's sitting in Manchester United, had a bad season. I wouldn't go for Martial because I think he's too lazy, but I would go for Rashford. I think Rashford could, if you go and put in a decent bid and say, right, Rashford, you're going to be our centre forward.
Yeah.
Like Rashford.
See, I think he's a bit out of, I don't want to say out of our league, but I think he's a level above our punching weight. But he is in a Lingard situation.
Yeah.
Like, he's in need of some love, some confidence, in a place where even if he doesn't perform that well, like, he's almost guaranteed to start and get playing time.
Yeah. But I just can't. This is where it comes back to like players like Ivan Toney, Jonathan David, like even Darwin Núñez. Yeah, we was linked with him in January. He's now gone to Liverpool for I think it's about 100 million. And I look at us and I think we're like the flash geezer at the pub who's saying about his Ferrari, but he's piss poor broke. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and again, we talked about time and time again. Like, I just don't get why we are still acting like that. Like, we are not, in my opinion, after you finish in European placings 2 seasons in a row, I don't think you should be acting like that anymore. Especially, like, we're not a small club. We've got the money. And that's why, in my opinion, like, I just think it all boils down to the ownership not giving Moyes his, I'm not going to say desired, but like a reasonable transfer budget. Like,
yeah,
like 80 million pounds in this market is not going to get you much.
yeah.
It realistically is not, unless you sign a couple loan players.
I think £80 million. If you want a decent striker, well, you got to look at 40 million up. That's the first thing. If you're going for a centre forward who you think, one, he's got to be able to adapt to the Premier League. Two, he's also got to be able to score goals in the Premier League because you can go and pay £40 million.
Just like Richard said, 80 million pounds. It's 2 good players.
Yeah,
and realistically, we're only, in my opinion, we're only like 2 good players away. The only problem is depth. I don't care if those 2 good players are coming off the bench or starting. Like, our starting 11 currently, our strongest starting 11 can compete with anyone in the Premier League, and it's shown. We have the evidence to prove that. We just need depth. We need some quality in certain places.
Yeah, I see a rumor the other day. I know I'm going on a bit, but I'm going to talk about it. Asensio, is it Asensio from Real Madrid, or the striker? We've got linked with him. We've been linked with Isco. We've been linked with every other player. It just seems like. Do you know what it seems like to me, Lucas? Yes, why it gets tiring doing like videos on this sort of subject is that when you are going through all these players, West Ham really have got no ambition to sign any of these players. Like,
yeah, and I don't think those rumors are true at all, because let's be honest, who the hell is going from Real Madrid to West Ham? Absolutely no one. But again, I just want to see Moyes back just one time, and I think he would hit a home run. I really do.
Unless, right, I remember doing a show on this about 3 months ago, I think it was, and I turned around and said about James Rodriguez, right? Is it going to happen that on July the 1st, that's when you're going to start seeing Bosch free signing? Because all their contracts would have expired by then. Yeah. And they would be looking for a club. Is that, like, I think once July the 1st comes and if we're still in the same boat of just say we've only got a guard and no Areola, then I do fear for West Ham this year. I really do. In regards of like major competitions, and it's ownership, mate. I'm sorry, but people don't like to hear it on certain different things. But this ownership is the reason why West Ham will never progress, in my eyes, 100%.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it is very tiresome. Obviously, seeing all the rumors as well. Like, we've got to have been linked with close to 50 players already, and the transfer window's only been open for 3 days.
I know, mate. I know, and I do agree with you. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there, people. That's been a good show, that one. I must admit, I really enjoyed that one. Lucas, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate
As
it.
always.
Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And as Lucas always says, hit the notification bell to get all our content on this channel. Will West Ham sign any players, Lucas? Lucas says 5. I think maybe not that many, but will West Ham sign any players? Who knows? But Agardi's coming, unless he don't break down on the motorway or something.
Unless he doesn't fancy a kebab.
Yeah. Other than that, GSB and Daniel, mate, you need to start sorting yourselves out because we're massive and we want to be massive, and we need a massive squad. Bye for now.